Today's video is sponsored by Crunchyroll, the place for watching brand new anime outside of Japan. With our link at crunchyroll.com/jwits, which you can also find in the description, you can get a 30-day free trial to Crunchyroll Premium, which gets you new subtitled shows immediately as they finish airing from Japan, gorgeous 1080p streams, and 0 ads. Crunchyroll runs on a ridiculous amount of devices, including the Wii U, and I've currently been using Crunchyroll to finish 2 big summer shows that both feature time travel. The action-heavy Re:Zero and the blush-heavy Orange. But the big thing I've been excited for is a new partnership with Funimation that just brought a bunch of new and classic titles over to Crunchyroll, including Cowboy Bebop. It's hands down my favorite anime of all time, with a gorgeous world, memorable characters, incredible action choreography, and the best jazz and blues-inspired soundtrack ever. It's still amazing 20 years later, and I highly recommend giving it a watch through Crunchyroll if you weren't able to catch it at peak popularity. Crunchyroll has been a huge returning sponsor of this show, and for good reason. They help support me and my editor, they're a service that I've already been using for years, and they just keep getting better. Seasons change, new generations come and go, but in Pokemon, one thing always remains the same. The Pokedex is a little book of hilarity and nightmares. While we've already been getting a taste of weird and creepy Pokedex entries to come from some of Pokemon Sun and Moon's reveals, especially on the main website, all it did was make me hungry to discover more strange Pokedex oddities that I haven't found already in the existing Pokedex. So let's crack this baby open. We're already 7 entries in, and the Pokedex is still just as bizarre as ever. Kicking off the day with Pokemon on the weird end of the weird creepy spectrum is Rhyhorn. Once it starts running, it doesn't stop. Its tiny brain makes it so stupid that it can't remember why it started running in the first place. This poor Pokemon. Most of its Pokedex entries just dig into how dumb it is. That's harsh. Rhyhorn have feelings too. Most of this is just a joke that plays out in the Rhydon entries, which mention that it walks on 2 legs with a developed brain, but then I also saw this black and white entry. Its powerful tackles can destroy anything. However, it is too slow-witted to help people work. Too stupid to help people work, huh? Too stupid to help people work! Speaking of Pokemon that typically get ridiculed in the Pokedex brings us to an age-old classic. Magikarp. A Magikarp living for many years can leap a mountain using Splash. The move remains useless though. Wow, okay. I'm not gonna let the Dex do you that dirty, Magikarp. If you can jump a mountain, I'd be pretty impressed. Except then I read its gold entry, which explicitly says it never jumps more than 7 feet. Okay, either you are lying, or you are lying, and all I know is I'm not the one with only 2 stars for jump in the Pokeathlon. Gliscor from Black and White. If it succeeds in catching even a faint breeze properly, it can circle the globe without flapping once. Even a faint breeze. Just one faint breeze, and Gliscor can go over 25,000 miles. Okay. Next up is Victini. This Pokemon brings victory. It is said that trainers with Victini always win, regardless of the type of encounter. Always win? Win? No matter what? Okay, but then what happens if you both have a Victini? But my favorite entry from today's weird section has to be Grimer's from Pokemon X. Sludge exposed to X-rays from the moon transformed into Grimer. It loves feeding on filthy things. X-rays from the moon. X-rays from the moon! That's a real thing that somebody wrote as a legitimate lore for explaining this Pokemon's creation. There isn't really a bit or a joke that I can make that will add to this in any way. X-rays from the moon, yes. And moving to the dark side of these videos that everyone loves so much is the creepy half. Especially thanks to the anime, Pokemon are almost unanimously loving and cheerful creatures. They love each other and they exclusively eat these brown things and puffs and stuff. But in the Dex, they all let their true colors shine. Houndoom. If you are burned by the flames it shoots from its mouth, the pain will never go away. What a terrifying Pokemon. While almost every creature that makes its way into these lists will do unspeakable physical harm to you, Houndoom is one of the few that inflicts permanent pain, emotional pain, eternal suffering. Nice. Pokemon eating other Pokemon shouldn't be a surprise anymore, but it always throws me off when incredibly cute Pokemon eat other Pokemon. Lanturn is one of them. It blinds prey with an intense burst of light, then swallows the immobilized prey in a single gulp. Oh, a single gulp. Cool. I guess you can't blame Lanturn for its efficiency, but what if you aren't able to devour your prey in a single bite? Well, that's where Weepinbell comes into play. If its prey is bigger than its mouth, it slices up the victim with sharp leaves, then eats every morsel. Victreebel is one of the earlier and more well-known entries in the weird, creepy Pokedex series, but it's good to know that those kids have efficient means for horrific violence too. Gotta raise them up right. And almost every Nidoking Pokedex entry is all about breaking bones, but it's the silver entry that really gets to me. Its tail is thick and powerful. If it binds an enemy, it can snap the victim's spine quite easily. It must be the specific word spine that really horrifies me. I've had some spine problems of my own for a while now, so I guess I take Nidoking's carnage personally. He's like the Bane of Pokemon. Not like the word Bane, but that Bane from Batman. He also breaks backs. And closing on today's list is none other than Giratina. It was banished for its violence. It silently gazed upon the old world from the distortion world. Now, with zero context, this doesn't seem so bad, but that's when you realize we've covered over 70 Pokemon now, full of stabbing, eating, ripping, breaking, slurping, bones, digestion, and all other unspeakable horrors. But all these horrors, not banished. So whatever Giratina did compared to everyone else was worse. The only one to be banished for violence. I'm just gonna leave it up to your imagination. The Pokedex is a wonderful treasure trove of all things goofy and horrific in Pokemon, and I never get tired of exploring it for a few more laughs and terrors. With Pokemon Sun and Moon shaping up to be a larger generation of Pokemon than we saw in Pokemon X and Y, I can't wait to see what future oddities the Pokedex's future holds. Thank you guys as always for watching my videos, and I'll see you guys next time with more Nintendo content.